This is the easiest, simplest way to install LED light strips without too big of a headache going and adding relays, fuses, or anything like this. This is the easiest way you can do it properly with no wire showing. Okay, for starters, these are going to be all the supplies you're going to need to install your LED Footwell kit. And first of all, obviously the Footwell kit in itself, whether you get a 2 or 4 LED strip, it depends on your personal preference or pricing, whatever. So what I decided to do is, this was a cheap, best bang for my buck at the time. I can connect my phone to this one. And the reason I bought the 4 is because I'm just going to cut 2 off and then not use them at all. So I'm only going to use 2 because I have a 2-door, and I only think that really you only need 4 if you have a 4-door. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of having people in the rear seat, so therefore I'm going to probably remove 2 of these. I will show you how to safely do that so you won't have any issues. Depending on how you're going to set this up, this is going to be a pretty helpful tool. This basically converts 12-volt circuit to a 5-volt circuit. If you go to hook this straight to 12 volts, it will not work. You will blow them. I've done it before. Trust me on that. Okay. I done it one time on my Ford Ranger I went to go wire them in, and I hooked it straight to 12 volts and it never worked after. So this prevents that from happening. This one comes with a USB type, or not type C, just a USB that will plug directly into it. So that's perfect. This is probably going to be handy. I don't know if you really need it, but I'm putting one in just to be safe. Added fuses, this is going to be the main thing that you're going to really need to make it work. That other component, I mean, maybe I haven't done enough of these installs to really tell you for sure, but this is just how I'm going to do it in this video. I need this specific one here, so the fuse is obviously fine. We're going to utilize this one here today. For tools, you'll need a dash removal tool of some sort. It doesn't need to be fancy or even a specific one. But you just need something to remove dash work. You might need a screwdriver or a ratchet to remove some Torxes or Phillipses, depending on your make and model. But you'll need some sort of dash removal tool. You'll need a torch of some sort to, or you can use a heat gun or a lighter. You'll need it for your heat shrink, and I have to use solder, so you can get away with non-insulated butt connectors with heat shrink over it. That's how I prefer to do it. But that is a tool you'll need, whether it's a lighter or what I just mentioned. So you'll need something like that. Hand tools, you need a pair of strippers of some sort and or side cutters. You'll need something along these lines to properly wire this in. And a test light of some sort to check where you're getting your power from. So for me, I want it to turn on with ignition. So I need to find an ignition source to tie my add a fuse in. Pretty simple. So step 1, find a fuse panel. There is a fuse panel there, a fuse panel in here, and a fuse panel there. Once you found a fuse panel you are figuring you're going to use, pop your dash panel off like that. And then you want to inspect for any, preferably fuse holders that don't have any fuses on it. Check to see if they work with ignition, because they probably don't do anything if they're not there. Or it might be an accessory, for example, that your car does not specifically have. For example, there is clutch sensor. I can use that clutch sensor power, which is probably an ignition source, to put my add a fuse in here, because I don't have a clutch. This is automatic. So therefore, I should have ignition power here. Now you gotta take your test light and find a ground, which normally this is one of your easiest, fastest grounds to find. So just attach your ground to here like that. And as you can see, my ignition is currently not on. So if I go and check on any of these, they should not light up. All you got to do is tap it in side to side. So I can just touch this in here and see that it's not lit up. If I currently click this to turn this on, it now lights up. So this tells me this is an ignition power source. Once again, click this off. Ignition's turned off. I have no power. So this is an ignition source. This is exactly what you need to make this work properly. So since I'm going to cut 2 LED strips off this, I'm going to stretch this out and grab the 2 shorter ones, and I'm keeping these ones, okay? But the other 2 is the ones I'm going to cut from back here. So I'm just going to grab them from here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of wire. Cut that one and that one. So now these two are not necessarily garbage. I mean, you can use them in a certain way, but I can explain that later. So first thing you're gonna have to do is to ensure you don't have any wire problems. is strip that little piece off and make sure that you tape these apart, otherwise you might pop the fuse or have a short circuit or burn the thing. So use your strippers to remove that little bit of wire that would have been showing there, so you can actually access your wiring here. From here, I'm grabbing a small tube of heat shrink and cutting it in small pieces to heat shrink over the wires that are currently exposed to ensure that I will not have any electrical problems here. So this is how it's going to look after you completed your heat shrinking. You don't need to do a lot of heat. You only, oh, this is a snap-on one, so it goes fast. You don't need a lot of heat. You just need to go over it back and forth until you see this glue on the top here ooze out the top, and same thing with the bottom. So that's all I need to do for this one. I just need to do this on all the other wires. Now this is how it's going to look. Since I'm not using these two, I had to do this to prevent anything bad from happening. So now I'm just going to tape this up with electrical tape together. Now this is done, I can get into the rest of the install. Really, they give you plenty of wire to work with, especially if you're only doing like your front. Like this is a lot of wire to work with. You got that much, and then you got this much to work with. So there should be almost no reason to be low on wire. Like that is a lot of wire to work with here. So from here, all I really need to do to complete the circuit is I need to put this red wire in here, crimp it, heat shrink it, and then I need to connect this to a ground. Now, the only concern I currently have is that this might be too big for this, so I'm gonna keep this a little bit more than I should. It shouldn't be this long of bare wire, but I'm going to, just to kind of jam a little bit more in there to hopefully crimp it a bit better. So I'm going to actually fold it in half and then jam it in there and crimp it this way and give it a good crimp. Give it a little tug. You don't need to tug that hard because this isn't going to be stretching. This isn't going to be moving anywhere. So you just want to give it a tug to make sure you have a good connection. Mine's a little wobbly here, so I'm going to give it another crimp. There we go. Now we have a really good connection. You should be able to heat shrink this material. The circuit is technically complete, so in theory I should be able to plug this into that extra circuit, turn the ignition on, and the light should light up. So we're going to test that before we go any further. So all I have to do is take this and plug it in to this spare, and then when I click the ignition, they won't light up right away because I have to connect this ground. When I connect this ground, they should light up. I stripped some wire back from the ground side, so now as soon as I hit this to a good ground, the lights light up. So now you don't need to use your cigarette lighter at all, and it's pretty simple. Like that was all I had to do here. So now everything works properly. I just need to connect this to this ground stud by putting a heat shrink connector on here, putting a bolt on there or a nut on there, and then this will be completed. So all I need to do is wire it or kind of hide it. Okay, so right now I don't have access to the proper heat crimp I was going to use. Normally it looks like an eye with a piece on the end of it like this, and then you can just kind of put it in behind here. So I'm going to show you another method that you can use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this nut, and I'm going to put a washer in behind it, because I tried to use this nut, then I tried to use a couple bolts over on this side, and I tried to use a bolt down below. And the bolts on this side don't have ground connection. The bolt below has the same problem as this, but I can't take the bolt all the way out. And the problem is, you can kind of see it right now, the hole is much bigger than the stud in itself. So if I tried to wrap it around this, it would just push it in behind it, and it wouldn't actually make like a little seal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little washer on here to make it a bit of a smaller gap, and then I'm going to wrap my wire around this stud and then put the nut on so it actually squeezes this wire together. Okay, with that kind of wrapped around the way it is, all I need to do now is hopefully tighten this up, and that should give me a good connection. Normally I don't recommend doing it, but I'm doing it this way because I don't have the proper tools right now. I highly recommend, I will put a picture of the proper piece that you should put on. Definitely recommend to do that. Crimp it, heat shrink it, and then put it in here, but I'm just doing this because I kind of know how to do it. So I got the ground wire hooked in behind here. This is wired up, so now in theory when I once again press this ignition, this should light up once again. And there you go. As you can see, now they are properly wired in. All you have to do from here is install it however you feel like. So for me, I'm just gonna, right here, you can kind of see a little hole. I'm gonna slide one LED strip through there and put it down through there. Like so. So now it's coming from here. All I need to do is hook that one up and then that one's done. Okay, for my situation, I'm extremely fortunate because in by the firewall there is a little tiny hole. I can kind of feed that through. And when I feed that through, I can just pull it through. I don't have to do anything with removing any dashes. Now I'm just gonna jam my little controller in there and probably put a zip tie around it and then call it a day for that. Most of them have either a little remote, depending on which one you buy. Cheaper ones usually have a little remote. This one's Bluetooth. So I'm just gonna jam it in here. It's pretty snug in there. It won't be shaking around. Most people want to hide these pretty well. I think I can hide mine completely just because it's Bluetooth. So that works out in my favor. But I have the wiring pulled all the way through for these. So I'm gonna throw the other one through. In behind here, there's a piece of foam that I'm gonna be, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, you see that little piece of foam right up there? Orangish color piece. I'm gonna be pushing my LED through that. So I'm just gonna take my LED strip and work my way back here. And pull my LED strip down. So I just put that panel back up, and now as you can see, there is very little to, if not no wiring showing. From here, to complete this job, all I have to do is hide the rest of the wiring and stick them on. I personally recommend you stick them on before you hide the wiring, as long as you got somewhere to tie your wiring to, then you know how much you can leave hanging to where it needs to go. When you go to stick them on, I'll show you better on the other side, but peel a little bit of the corner off, stick it on both corners, and then peel it out. The reason why I say peel up a little bit off this corner and this corner is because you can hold it down like so on both sides, stick it up in place on one corner. Now I have it stuck up in place and I have it lined up perfectly where I want to. All I need to do is peel that back. And as you peel it back, push up on it and it will stick it on. That is the only little piece of wire you see on the passenger side. And from up here, you can't see anything. The passenger side is currently done. I just need to tie up the wiring on the driver's side, then this project is complete. I have everything tied up now. These are gonna be the key notes. You wanna make sure that any positive side is not really going to chafe anywhere. That is the more important thing. That's why that ground is fine for the most part. You just wanna make sure your positive side is not gonna cause any issues later on down the road or cause fire. Just make sure of that. That is a disclaimer. I maneuvered the controller down here now, but you can't even really see it anymore. It's tied up in behind. Right there, my fingertip is too, where those couple zip ties. I ran into a couple problems for a few minutes, but I solved it. The other thing you wanna make sure of is the wire that goes across here does not touch your steering shaft at all. You want to make sure that it has zero contact, which I made sure it doesn't. Other than that, you are good to go. So now all that's left is to install this fuse panel. There we go. And I'm going to clean up my mess and show the final result. Okay, now I have everything tied up and cleaned up. So this is what the final product will look like. As you can see, there is no wiring hanging around and the lights are currently not on because the ignition's not on. As soon as I go to sit in, and we'll say I turn the ignition on by pressing this button. There we go. Both sides work perfectly. They work while the car is running. And they only turn off when the car turns off. That is so cool. You guys just seen, I just finished the lights that I just installed, and on a side note, what a crazy evening for a drive right now. The sunset is actually spectacular right now, and this is the final product. Don't mind my little bit of meat I have there, but this is the final product of the lights. I cannot be happier with the outcome of this and the sunset. God damn. If you guys are new around here, this is what I do. I do a lot of repair videos or installation or stuff that people might want to see. I do car meets and just car stuff in general. If you guys enjoyed this video and if you found this helpful, like and subscribe, and let me know if there's something that you guys want to learn or figure out how to do next. Overall, I would say this repair was very simple and almost anybody can do it. Or not repair, this install, anybody can install these lights and have zero wiring or take up their cigarette lighter. So hopefully you found this video helpful. As well, if you don't have an open fuse, what you can do is use a fuse. That's what the whole purpose of that little wire I used was, add a fuse. So you can add another circuit to it, right? That is totally doable with that. I strongly recommend having that 12 volt to 5 volt adapter that I had earlier. That will hopefully save your lights. Now, always look at your lights to see if it says 5 volt or what on it before you install them, because if you don't have that 12 volt to 5 volt and you install them, you have a risk of burning out your lights. Just keep that in mind when you're installing them. And as I said, hopefully you guys found this helpful, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.